Welcome to a special edition of the Seacoast Sports Forum, and emphasis is on soccer. The emphasis being on soccer. We have our own plaque. You've got your coach thing today. We'll put soccer front and center because we have something big to talk about. Yep.
That's the headline of the show.
A dynasty.
A dynasty.
In the making.
In Seacoast Online, Seacoast Portsmouth Herald today, I should say. We need to give them credit that yes, Exeter is still a dynasty in girls soccer.
And a big, big accomplishment, a perfect season. Now, we saw it happen during the basketball season with the boys basketball team, and 19-0 for the girls soccer team. Quite an accomplishment.
That is a tremendous accomplishment. My hat goes off to Coach Megan Young and the rest of her team. I think the thing I have picked up, the vibe I picked up, is that it's a group of young ladies that very much worked together. Mm-hmm. They had a common goal of getting to that state championship game and winning that game. They seemed to take the season game by game by game, which is the right way to do it. And they just had an outstanding season.
Well, they had graduated 15 seniors, and so that's a big gap to fill.
Sure.
And everybody stepped up and did their job, to use that cliche, but that's exactly what you have to do.
I had the opportunity this year to watch a number of the girls' games as I run the clock for girls' soccer and analyze, take a look at how the ladies played, and very, very impressive. And Bill, you hit the nail on the head. They work as a team. I mean, they're midfielders, they're backs. Everybody knows exactly what their job is, and their defense was the thing that impressed me the most. Megan Olszewski in goal. Mm-hmm. She could read a book back there sometimes because they just didn't penetrate the back line of the Exeter defense. They were that strong.
And to have 16 shutouts during the season, right, and only 3 goals scored against you, that is an accomplishment. And wow,
and Megan Olszewski will be going to UMass.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
She's a UMass recruit.
So.
And good for her. I mean, just a tremendous young lady. We've gotten to know her a little bit. She was also a member of the girls ice hockey team for a year and then decided to become the manager. And just a tremendous person. I know she's very, very well liked, and all the girls seem to be. Sometimes, having coached girls, sometimes it's difficult for girls to work together, just like guys. Mm-hmm. Sometimes guys aren't willing to sacrifice individual accomplishments for the team. And they were able to do that. And I give all kinds of credit to the members of the team and to Coach Megan Young.
And in case anybody missed the game, it was a 2-0 win over Londonderry for the championship. Ella Frazier got the 2 goals, and there were a bunch of saves by Megan in goal.
Right.
It's just one of those things where everything clicked. I mean, I watched the game via a feed that came from Londonderry, and sitting on the edge of my chair there for a while. It was 0-0 in the first period. And going into the second half, that's when the Jets came on, and then you're sitting on the edge of your seat waiting to see if that's going to hold up, because Londonderry was, and Megan Young, when we interviewed her a couple of weeks ago, said that was the team that people were, picking. Mm-hmm. I said to her in that interview a couple of weeks back, I said, "Did you feel there was a bullseye on your back?" And she said, "No, not really. I mean, they had to be prepared." But Londonderry was the team that everybody seemed to be putting all the emphasis on. So
And knocking off Londonderry during the regular season just kind of propelled the team at that point to the rest of the year. They just knew that they were going to keep on going. And, you know, in soccer, like no other sport, one mistake can determine the outcome of a game. You know, one person lets down at one spot and that ball gets through and there's an open run to the net and it's all over. So everybody needed to concentrate for the entire 80 minutes.
That's right.
To make sure that they kept that focus in the game.
The only thing that scares me during a game like that is when Ella got the first goal, especially. You know, everybody jumps on her and thinking like, "Don't hurt her! Don't hurt her! Come on now, don't hurt her!" No injuries allowed. And then, of course, after the second goal and the end of the game, you know, the festivities went on. At the end, we have a picture of the girls hoisting the championship trophy. If we can throw that up. Group of young ladies and a coach who's put in a lot of time, and you know, congratulations. It's a big accomplishment, especially the El Perfecto. And I noticed 2 weeks ago when I was talking with her, I didn't mention that. I didn't want to be the guy that jinxed the El Perfecto. You know.
Well, I mean, over the last 25 years, I mean, you have Manchester West and you have Exeter.
Right.
I mean, and that was it.
True.
That was, and so Exeter now is staking their claim to be the Exeter, I mean, the Manchester West of the 2000s. Okay, and see if they can. With the people coming back next year, there's no reason not to think that Exeter will be the favorites again next season.
Well, we'll definitely be crossing paths with Megan.
Two things I want to add. Number one, what I don't think people realize is, yes, the technical skills are important, but boy, speed kills. And especially speed on turf makes all the difference in the world.
Right.
And I think that was a key contributing factor to this year's group, was how quick and fast the members of the team were, especially midfield and defense, and the attack people, because they frequently would have a long kick from the midfield over the heads of the defense, and Frazier would run under. And, you know, I just think that is so important. The other thing I was very pleased to see, and I really wish they would do away with this, is in the playoffs, don't decide a game on penalty kicks. And it didn't happen. And I think, I'm sure I would be speaking for most of the soccer coaches out there, don't decide the game on that. Keep playing. You'll eventually get a winner.
Maybe reduce the number of players on the field.
Yeah, that
Take
could,
a player
exactly
off
like,
after every overtime.
That's an interesting one.
yeah, well, exactly like pro hockey does
Right.
in their overtime period. But I understand the regular season, a tie is a tie, and that's fine. But when you get into the playoffs, to take away all the hard work that everyone has put in over the course of the year, and to decide it on a penalty kick, boy, I don't like that.
Yeah. I did get a chance to do a lot of the Division II field hockey this year, and they changed their overtime format this year. It used to be penalty corners where they would slide the ball in front and someone would get it and try to score at that point. They went more to the hockey style of penalty shots. You'd pick up the ball at the 20-yard line. You'd have 8 seconds to come in and take the shot and get it, and it's the best of 5 to win that game. So, again, but you know, you're saying let's just keep playing until we determine a winner.
Right. I mean, in baseball, do you say, okay, we're going to put the bases loaded and?
Well, they're thinking of that.
But that, I don't know who's thinking of it, but I'm certainly not.
Put a runner at second base.
Yeah, that I don't like.
Basketball,
No.
you don't decide, you play,
Play it
you
up.
play. You reduce the time and you play.
Right.
Ice hockey and interscholastic ice hockey for the high schools, you keep playing.
Is there anything more exciting, though, than college overtime from the 25-yard line, playing the innings, and then after you get through 2 overtimes, you go into the 3rd overtime, and then you've got to go for 2 points in that kind of situation? I mean, that can go into 6, 7 overtimes.
The good thing about that, though, is at least it's you're playing with everyone, and it's offense and defense,
Right.
and it's a team.
Yes. Yes.
These are team games. Don't decide it on
Yeah.
an individual accomplishment. That's just my pet peeve.
Well, I wouldn't just.
The opinions expressed on this show are those of Bill Taylor, who do not represent.
Yes.
I just wanted to compliment Ryan O'Leary, great article in the Portsmouth
Yes.
Herald about the victory the other night. Good coverage. One thing I noticed, Channel 9 kind of mentioned it at 11 o'clock in passing, and then that was it. So, girls, you deserved a lot of credit, and thank you, Ryan, for a great article, and we'd like to get you on board on our show as soon as possible. Sam, I'm going to ask you to let me lean this up against
Sure.
your little device there. So we have, the coach has got his thing, you got yours, and gotta get something to put in front of him. Well, I do, I have the logo, that's right. Football, let's change gears. By the way, before we do, I just want to mention, we are going to try to get Megan Young for a good sit-down interview, just to review not only this season, maybe some of the players too, review some of the season and what it was like to go El Perfecto. That's 19-0 is something else. Okay, on to football. We are going into the tournament, and we are into the tournament for football as well. The Blue Hawks had a victory the other day, and I think they've got themselves in a pretty good position.
I think so. Bill, I wanted to ask you right off the top, talking about the Exeter victory over Nashua South this past Saturday. Have you ever seen a contrasting game like that?
Right. I mean, first of all, if people did not see that game, they missed a heck of a football game.
It was
That
good.
was.
Back and forth.
And what you're alluding to, and I agree with you, is we scored for them. All our points were generated off like a one-play explosion.
Right.
Long
Runs.
I mean, we had long run after long run. South was a grinded out team. I was very impressed with how well Nashua South played, especially coming off a loss the previous week where they basically didn't score until substitutions were made.
Right.
The previous week, in case you missed it, Exeter defeated South 30-14, and South scored 14 points in the fourth period. This game, I mean, look at the opening drive.
Third play in.
Third play in, we dropped the pass, which was wide open, and the third play, Edmonston hit for that, what was it?
Must have been
60-yard run.
Exactly.
And, Jaden Cleash had one. Edmonston had 3.
Yes.
200
You
some
said
odd
they had
yards.
200 and some
He did.
yards.
He
He
did.
averaged almost
250,
15 yards
Exeter
a
was
carry.
right. Exeter was averaged over that, and so it was but the thing was the number of plays.
Right, right.
South had almost double the number of plays
Right.
than Exeter had on offense, and Exeter when South got close, Exeter answered every time.
I'll tell you what I thought the key point to the game was, to me, is when South decided to punt the ball on a 4th and maybe 2
Yes.
at around midfield. And instead of going for it, and they had generated, we had a hard time stopping their running back, Campo,
Yes.
who just had a tremendous forward lean.
Yeah, big kid.
And he was generating 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever he needed.
Kept going to the right side.
Yes.
All the time.
Well, they had that big tight end
Yes,
blocking,
yes.
and the 2 small wide receivers who just did a great job blocking the corners in the open field.
Right.
I mean, they seemed to get them, and they were like Velcroed together.
Yep.
And they opted to punt, and what did we do? We hit another home
Exactly.
run.
Right off the bat.
And it was a tremendous contrast. If people go by the time of possession,
Right.
they would say, oh, well, South should have won
Sure.
by a big margin. But, that's what happens when you play Exeter and you bring everybody, they played 5 men up front and 6 backers.
Right.
So you had, if he would have played a 5-5 with 1 middle safety, maybe some of those long runs might not have happened. But once you broke that line, there weren't many people there to
Slow you down.
slow you down.
So we have to give a tip of the cap to the Exeter offensive
Oh,
line
yeah.
for their blocking, for
Yes.
what they
Nice
did at
job.
the point of attack.
Yes. Boy, the play that really stood out was the Cleach one where he went and he stopped on a dime and just
yeah,
reversed.
Went toward the middle of the
And the
field.
downfield blocking was
That
tremendous.
was quite a cut, yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
quite a game. It was a good game, you know, and I don't want to call it.
Contrasting
Yeah,
styles.
yeah, exactly. And now, the ultimate goal is to get to the next round, obviously, and then to the championship at UNH.
Right.
Well, home field advantage.
Yeah, that's right.
Check.
Check. So
Okay, that's checked
taking
off.
on the Merrimack Tomahawks.
Which will be at 1 o'clock on the
Saturday.
on Saturday. Got to get my dates here right.
You know, don't look at me. He's looking at me for dates. I don't know.
Which will be the
What time is it?
16th. Which will be the 6th
16th.
Saturday, the
Yeah,
16th at 1
Yeah,
o'clock.
exactly.
You know,
16th.
Okay.
the thing that people should remember, the regular season is the regular season.
Correct.
I can go back into Exeter history of times where what happened in the regular season doesn't come true, both positive and negatively. The year you were with us when we were broadcasting on radio and we played the Pinkerton Astros
Right.
in the regular season final, I think it was a senior night, and Pinkerton ran all over us, went up and down the field continually. And we got in the playoffs and it was a different ball
Yeah,
game
the switch turned on.
and Exeter won.
Well, I'm just thinking about a comment you made that's still in the back of my head right now after a great win on Saturday, but it's still there ringing in my ears of you saying to me the second week of the season, Merrimack's a tough team.
Yeah,
The kids from Merrimack always play us tough.
yeah.
And that's who the Blue Hawks will be up
That's
against
correct.
on the 16th.
Tomahawks.
And they've got to be sky high right now
Oh,
after
yeah.
knocking off Nashua North and dominating that team.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's a little bit of a controversy there in that North game. They have their key player hurt, and he could have played. I guess opted not to play, or they decided not to play him. I don't know whose decision it was.
Okay,
So that
I've
opened the
heard
door.
differently. I've heard was done for the season,
Okay.
but
Because of the injury.
because of the injury. Yes, his last name is Harris.
Curtis Harris.
And he is probably will be the football player of the year in New Hampshire.
Right.
Just a tremendous athlete. He is being recruited, including by the Wildcats.
Wildcats, so supposedly dibs on him.
But just a tremendous football player. Not just offensively, but defensively also. But boy, the Blue Hawks now are rolling. They're going to play Merrimack again.
What have you heard about the Tomahawks?
Well, number one, throw the pass game out the window. Number two, Merrimack, they are a physical team, is the best way to put it. They are going to battle you inch for inch.
Because that
on
Blue
that
Hawk
turf.
was a rout on the second
Yes, it
week
was.
of 7 was a 41-7, something like
Correct.
that. So you're right. Merrimack is going to come in here raring to go.
They will, and if you don't think that they can beat us, you are incorrect. And you know, I'd love to see that stadium completely packed.
They're going to need it.
Yeah,
Blue Hawks are going to need it.
because right, it is going to be a heck of a football
They'll be
game.
rocking, I hope.
Yeah.
Because I hope the weather cooperates. And even
The weather is supposed to. It's supposed to be in the low 40s and sunny. From what I've seen, you know, the future.
Get out the snow shovels.
Just in case. Bill's predicting.
Bill has predicted.
Yeah, and I
Now
bought a
let's look
snowblower,
at that.
so-
Let's look at the lower half of the bracket here because there was really no surprise, I don't think, here in the lower half with Londonderry dominating Pinkerton 45-3. You can see that on your screen right now, and then The 2-3 matchup was Salem with an easy win over Goffstown. So it's Salem at Londonderry on the 16th. What do you think about that one?
I think the Salem-Goffstown game is a little bit of a surprise. Goffstown was the 2 seed, Salem was the 3
Grizzlies
seed.
didn't show or something.
I think it's because I went to Salem High that probably I was.
That has a lot to do with it.
That probably brought my comment up.
Blue
That
Devil
Salem,
you.
yeah, Salem, sure, no
Blue
problem,
Devil
no
you.
problem at all.
But no, Londonderry is the favorite to win the whole thing. They were the prohibitive preseason favorite, and they are the favorite to win the whole thing.
They are. I don't know a lot
And,
about their offense. I mean,
No,
are they quarterback driven? Are they a pass team? Are they a run team?
That's what I was just going to ask.
Yeah,
Thanks for
see,
asking.
what happens in football now is that other division, we don't, because we are playing every...
We don't see them.
We don't see them.
Not at all.
So I don't have any idea.
Yeah.
I'm sure Billy's seen them.
Oh, sure.
So the matchup potentially we're rooting for is at UNH, a Blue Hawk, Londonderry Lancer final.
Well, not necessarily.
Well, you know what?
I'd like an extra Blue Devil final.
Well, I can see where you're coming from too. But I mean, you want to beat the best to be the best, you know?
And actually, wouldn't that be a repeat of the basketball final?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, we can't get ahead of ourselves.
No,
We
one
got
game
the
at a time,
We
I
got the
know.
Merrimack Tomahawks here to think
Yeah,
about.
yeah. We got to worry about one game at a time. And that game, you'll be working that game on Saturday. You'll be available on Channel 13, I hope.
I don't know if it will be live, but we will be broadcasting, yes,
Okay.
Jeff and I.
Good.
Yep.
Good. You guys do a great job, by the way. I didn't get to see you at the end of the game the other day. It got a little crazy, but you guys really are in tune together. Now, and thank you for the graphic from the NHIAA for the what we just saw for the playoff bracket, I should say, and also the photo of the championship team. Moving on to the UNH Wildcats, we've been away from the stadium for a few weeks. The
Right.
guys on the road, they had a bye week, and they've been on the road. They played a big game against JMU, James Madison, and they got their hats handed to them.
Wildcats were coming off a really nice win against Villanova, where they took over in the second half and knocked off the Villanova Wildcats. So it was Wildcats against Wildcats, which was a little confusing.
That's different.
You know, when you used to say Wildcat first down, you couldn't say that. You had to say Villanova first down.
That's right.
So. But boy, JMU. I mean, the Wildcats started out and had the lead in that game.
Yeah.
They were leading 10-3 in the contest. They said, "Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Here comes the upset," and then that was it.
Then JMU put it on it.
They scored. They scored like 40 unanswered points after that point.
But the playoffs for the Wildcats, that's still alive. They dropped down the rankings, I guess, this week, but they still have a shot at getting into the postseason. But they have to win these next 2 games.
Against Albany, at Albany,
Right.
coming up on the 16th.
And then we're back in action on the 23rd.
23rd, they finish up the home season at Wildcat Stadium against the Maine Black Bears.
And that's for the Bryce Cowell Musket. So that's a big game. That is then a good way to end the season. But again, we're in a position where they have to win those last 2 really to influence the committee to get into the playoffs, which I don't think they'll have if they do, I don't think they'll have a home game this year.
I don't think so, but one win won't be enough.
No.
They need to win them both.
They got to win them both. And Ricky Santos, I was talking to somebody up in the booth the other day, and it's interesting. I mean, he's been there, done it, and the JMU game, he probably had his hands full. The Villanova game, they came from behind.
He did.
So he obviously knows how to motivate a team. And JMU, I'm sure he tried every trick he knows, but it just wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, most football is adjustments at halftime. I mean, you need to go into the locker room and you need to make some changes, and the changes he made all worked. Every button he pushed was perfect. But winning in Harrisonburg, Virginia is not an easy thing to do when he just ran up against.
You know, for people who don't know, JMU is James Madison.
Right.
And James Madison is ranked number 2 in the country in Division
1A.
The
1A.
FCS.
Yeah, the
FCS,
FCS. Number 2 behind, I think it's South Dakota State, who is number 1. But number 2 in the country is pretty darn good.
Yeah. And so, okay.
You know, one of the things you mentioned about if they do win the two, whether they get a home game or not. That's not necessarily set by the rankings. How you get a home game, you put in a bid, and the committee looks at a lot of different things like facility,
Right.
Wildcats, check, okay,
True.
and your media and all those types of things that you can handle during a game. So win the two games, put in your bid, and then see where the cards fall.
Right. Lights, attendance.
Right.
All those things play a big role.
They do.
One other football-related topic, pro this time. The Patriots, the rumor was this week that Kraft wants Gronk to come out of retirement for the stretch run for the Patriots season. You think it's going to happen?
No. Everybody wants Gronk to come out of retirement. He was the best tight end in football. He might be. I have a hard time not saying that he was the best tight end to ever play the game. I mean, tight ends now in some teams have become glorified split ends. Gronk could do it all. However, Gronk, he's not, I don't think he's coming back, no.
I think he's happy doing what he's doing now.
I think he is
He's
also.
doing some football commentary. He's doing his ads for some sort
Right.
of substance he uses, and that's about it. I mean, he doesn't need it. Let's put it that way.
Right.
We'll
And
see
you
what
know what?
happens
He-
after the Eagles this week.
He doesn't
Well, that's
need-
true.
The other thing is, oftentimes those guys are motivated. He never cashed his game checks. He lived off his endorsements.
Wow.
And so all that money that he made for salary has been invested or whatever he does with it, but he didn't spend it.
No.
Well, on a side note on football, fantasy football.
Oh, my goodness.
I just want to let you know.
You must be winning.
No. The Tails and Company team is, you're leading in the, there's two divisions in our Seacoast Sports Forum Fantasy League. We have the Lombardi division and the Hallis division. You're leading the Hallis division. Right now, 6-4, not bad record. Unfortunately, I've gone down the tank. 3-7 is my team.
Well, you need to consult with Sam when
I
you're
think
doing
so.
that
Well,
because Sam has all the answers.
You're leading your division, so go for it. Keep going, guys. That's all I can say. Throw some quick topics on the table since we last met. And by the way, I thought you were going to be in Washington testifying. I keep hearing your name on the national news.
Right.
Well, I'm glad to have you back here, by the way, so we can throw some topics out. Baseball, we haven't talked to you since the World Series. The Washington Nationals. Who would have thought it? I think I brought that up.
You did.
And you know what? I was not unhappy. I was happy for the Nationals. I think the following. I think the Astros should have pulled back the reins a little bit on Verlander. I think he was spent by the time he got to the playoffs. He was not the dominant pitcher that you saw in the regular season. That's number one. Number two, they're a little too arrogant for their own good, the Astros, the whole organization. And
I agree with that.
I think they had a lot of people rooting against them for that reason, and I know I was one.
Well, we were talking about what's the better position to be in the middle of the pack and work your way up to the top like the Nationals, or be the top dog with the bullseye on your back. And it's always fun to watch a Cinderella team like them come through in the end. I mean, they probably won't do it again next season because they're going to lose a couple of key players. But on the other hand, it was fun while it lasted.
It was. They get all the big hits.
And it gave DC something to cheer about down there in DC. So what are you testifying on down there? Wouldn't you know you have the same name as some guy that's...
Right.
Whatever. The other couple of things I wanted to bring up, the Celtics off to a hot start.
They are.
And not only that, losing Hayward, who
Yeah, losing Hayward.
for 6 weeks, I don't know if you saw any of the game last night, but they played Dallas. Dallas is a pretty explosive team. They can score. Donick? No, I'm not pronouncing his last name correctly.
I think
D-O-N-I-C.
it's Doncic.
Yeah.
Sounds like, yeah.
He I mean, he had 30-some. He was a force driving to the basket. He hit some threes, but the Celtics, you know, they're a more enjoyable team to watch. To be honest, last year as the season went on, I couldn't watch them. They were a dysfunctional mess. They were not happy with each other. Everybody was concerned about individual stats and playing time as opposed to winning. This group seems to be winning. Sometimes if you have too many stars, there's only one basketball. There's only one baseball, there's only one soccer ball, there's only one.
Spread it around.
Yeah.
Well, I think with the NBA right now, there's so much emphasis on the playoffs that teams, you know, the new buzzword is called load management,
Right.
which is, you know, don't burn out your players in the first 4 months of the season because you're going to need them for the stretch run from April to June if you're going to go to the playoffs. So, you know, regular season basketball games, they're tough to get intensity sometimes. You really get some games that teams just don't show up, and that will happen. As opposed to hockey, where sometimes they're playing every game hard. I see, but in basketball they just tend to back off a little bit much. That's why I think the NFL is king, because every week is such a big game where you only have 16 regular season games.
That's it. Right, and that's the thing. I mean, there were only 16 times you buckle up and go out there in the regular season, as opposed to 82, as opposed to 162.
Right.
I mean, I mean, sometimes people just can't get their act together. And
Exactly.
especially you're talking back-to-backs and all that. I mean, it's pretty difficult on the body. That's why football players absolutely hate those Thursday night games.
Sure.
As a fan,
Yep.
I could watch football every night.
Right.
But, and by the way, last night's game, I don't know if you stayed awake.
I
It
did.
was
I
a
did.
heck of a
I did.
football
San
game.
Francisco,
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a football
And everybody's using backup, backup kickers right now, you know, because all the kickers are going down this
Yep.
season. So it was, putting that kid from San Fran into he got the one to tie it up, and they couldn't get that one to put it on.
No, he missed that one badly.
You and I are into NASCAR. Sam's probably going to take a nap right now, but I just wanted to mention NASCAR's getting into their tournament season now. Their final four, they go down to
Now, wait a minute.
Homestead.
I was watching the Today Show this morning, and on the Today Show this morning, they had the 4 finalists. Are there four,
Yes.
Yeah.
4 guys that are
Yes.
left? There's
Hamlin.
like Hamlin, Harvick, Jimmy
Truex.
Bob, and somebody else,
Hey, no,
right?
Ricky Bobby.
Ricky
No,
Bobby.
Kevin
Truex
Harvick, Martin
and,
Truex, Kyle Busch, and Denny
Kyle
Hamlin.
Busch, yeah.
Those are the
Okay,
final four.
okay.
And your guy, Ryan Blaney, he came close.
He did.
He came close.
He did. I mean, his final restart, he was second. Oftentimes in automobile racing, where you line up on a restart is key on certain tracks, because some tracks, the outside lane is the preferred groove. Some tracks, the inside lane is a preferred groove. Because he was second, he did not get to choose. Hamlin chose the top, he had the bottom. Just didn't happen. He finished third.
I was going to say,
But he gave it a heck of a run.
yeah, he did. And the other one I felt bad for yesterday because he would have been the defending champ. And I think the defending
Logano.
champ should be in anyway. I think that's one thing. I don't like the playoff system. We've gone over this before, you and I. The other guys really need, you know, there's some other guys that deserve. Logano being one of them, I thought.
See, I disagree. I think this is the best you can do right now. It makes every race important. And then you get into, and there are a variety of tracks. There are 1.5 miles, there are mile tracks, there are shorter tracks than that, Martinsville being a perfect example, which is a 1/2 mile. You have a restrictor plate race in there, which is Talladega. The only thing you don't have is a road course. And I think if you added a road course to the playoffs, it would be a good thing, whether it be Watkins Glen or Sonoma or probably couldn't be Watkins Glen because of the time of the year. But Sonoma would be perfect. California is usually a good place to be in this time of year.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't agree. I like the playoffs the way they're. I also like the stage racing because it makes the entire race important as opposed to just the last 50 laps.
Well, I defer to you, sir. You've been following a lot longer than I have. But who are you picking now? Those four.
Okay, I'm going with Kevin Harvick.
Ah,
He's done it before,
that's what I was gonna
and
do.
I think he will do it again. Actually, 3 out of the 4 drivers have won the championship. Kyle Busch has won, Martin Truex has won, and Harvick has won. Hamlin has not won a championship. I think Kevin Harvick will win.
Well, I'm going to go with you on that one. I've been a Harvick guy, well, you know, been way back.
And Sam, you're going with Ricky Bob.
I'm going with Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby.
Ricky Bobby, shake and bake.
Well, before we end the race thing, I've spent a week out in Hoosier country in Indiana, and I had to run an errand. And
How was Larry?
Larry Bird. No, I didn't get to meet with Larry, but I did get to go to a store we don't have out here, or at least I don't think we have any of this area. It's called Menards. And it's like it's like a Home Depot or Lowe's type of store with a little Walmart thrown in. So I saw this and I couldn't resist. It's an early Christmas present from me to you. It is a Ryan Blaney Menards hauler.
Oh,
There you go. I just wanted to show it to the camera here.
Yeah.
See if Bob can close in on this. Just something, I know you're a Ryan Blaney guy. Whoops, let's see, there we go. All right, so beside your coach plaque, you can keep it on the desk if you like, or you can take it home and run around the house with it. Or give it to your grandkids.
well, thank you.
2-minute drill time, guys. Anything specific that you want to bring to mind? Bring to the table?
I wish for me that we could get a resolution to the Mookie Betts thing quickly because it's starting to irritate me.
We got a new GM too now.
Well,
since we
yeah,
last spoke.
exactly, and there's winter meetings now that are going on at some resort somewhere where it's probably a lot warmer than it is in Exeter today. But I'm telling you, I just wish they would resolve it quick, give him his money, square it away, and let's move on.
Well, I think he's going to be gone. I really do. I don't think they're going to keep him.
Wow.
I don't know which Globe columnist I was reading. I think it was Shaughnessy. He said, you know, he's no Ted Williams, and you know, he compared him to greats of old, and he's no. What was the other one he mentioned? The kid from California, Trout. Mike Trout. So, you know, cut your losses and move on. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. This new GM has his hands full to rebuild the system. That's the thing.
With the budget that he's given.
Yeah, exactly. Coach, 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to talk about, just quickly, the UNH women's ice hockey team just had a Stick It to Stigma event, and which has to do with suicide prevention in the schools. And I think it's a very worthy cause. I know the Exeter High girls ice hockey team will also have an event that benefits Connors Klein, which is about a young man from Exeter High School who did commit suicide. And it's about suicide awareness and prevention. And I think that's something for our listeners to get behind, because I think it's a worthy cause. And thank you, Bob, for pulling that up. And it's a very worthy cause. The women's ice hockey team, it just took place last Saturday. And
Donations, I'm sure, could always be passed along.
And I do know
Was it on that website, Bob? You want to throw that up one more time?
And I do know that the girls' ice hockey team will also have an event sponsoring that.
Okay, that is good. You know, I just wanted to say for my 2-minute drill, we're getting into the fun holiday season coming up, Thanksgiving and Christmas just around the corner. But to me, the 2 most important national holidays, we just observed one. Well, Memorial Day is in the spring, and then Veterans Day just a few days ago. And to me, I just want to thank any and all veterans, those who have served, those who are currently serving, and just we aren't going to forget all those who gave it all for us to be able to be free, do what we're doing, and have.
Correct.
And again, so thank you to the veterans, and we'll be heading on to a fun season now with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming, but we got some sports to deal with in between. So we got a football game this weekend, a football game next weekend down hopefully in, well, 2 football games potentially for us,
Right.
UNH and the championship series.
Right.
We'll be there, UNH, for that no matter what. But our big congratulations, and if Bob, you want to end the show by putting up the picture of the ladies to the Blue Hawk girls soccer team for their perfect season, 19-0. Coach Megan Young and all those young ladies, congratulations from all of us at the Seacoast Sports Forum. So for Coach Bill Taylor, Sam Bruno, I'm Sherm Chester. Join us again next time for the Seacoast Sports Forum.